bring Khris back was the first step, and then to add Greg to our team, I think that this is it. This is the next step for us and where we want to be, and we couldn't be any more excited than to have Khris Middleton and Greg Monroe as a part of our organization moving forward. Khris, you want to go first?
Just want to say, I'm glad to be back. First, I want to thank my family for being here, my agent also. And also, I just want to say, I'm glad to be back here, glad to be a part of this organization for 5 more years, and continue to take the step in the right direction to be a championship caliber team.
How you guys doing? First, I want to thank my family and my agent for being here also. And definitely want to thank the Milwaukee Bucks organization for extending this opportunity to me. All the stuff they named, that's something I want to be a part of. I feel like they have all the tools to get there, and I just want to come here and continue the path that they're taking. So once again, I just want to thank the organization. And also Khris, he assisted them a whole lot and recruited me here. And I'm looking forward to playing with him again. He's a great guy. From everything I heard, all the guys on the team are great. So I'm looking forward to working with everyone here.
We'll take questions. If you could just wait for the microphone.
Charles Gardner from Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Congratulations to both of you, Khris and to Greg. I guess my first question's for you, Greg. There were a lot of suitors for your services, as we know. You're one of the top 3 agents out there. What did it come down to for you? I know there's been talk about Jason Kidd, the young core, but what was it? And did Khris really recruit you?
Yes, he really did. That was serious. He was ringing me up. But that's the thing they spoke of. Their aspirations, the team that they have in place. I feel like this is the best fit for me. It was purely a basketball decision. I'm a basketball player. I love this game, and so nothing else matters but basketball to me, and that's why I'm here.
Greg, Doug Russell with WTMJ Radio. Question about Coach Kidd. As someone who I'm sure grew up watching him play at such an elite level, how much credibility does he have as a coach in trying to recruit you to come and play for his team?
Well, he's won everywhere. He's won as a player. He's been winning as a coach. And so, everybody knows who he is and what he's done for this game. And so, and I know he has a lot to give back as a coach now. And so I'm looking forward to working with him a whole lot.
Greg, it's Lance Allen from WTMJ TV. How hungry are you for the playoffs? What kind of sold you on this being the team, and what did you see from the outside playing these guys on a regular basis?
Maybe the correct word is starving for the playoffs. They were there last year, even without Jabari, and you add a guy like that back to your team with the guys they already have in place. That's already a step in the right direction. And so, they just had everything set up for what I wanted. Everything that I needed, to be comfortable and happy. That's what they had. And so, like I said, I'm just really, really excited to start working with these guys.
Greg, Dennis Crosby from Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. You've been to this city many times with the McDonald's game and playing for Georgetown and the Pistons. What are your impressions?
I love it. The scenery is great. The fans are great. Like you said, I played against Marquette, and the atmosphere in there was crazy when I was at Georgetown. Playing here, the fans have always been supportive. It's been a great atmosphere playing here. So I was very familiar with the arena. Every city I played, I try to get out and explore. So I was pretty comfortable. So it's like I said, I just felt like it was the right fit for me all around.
Steve Ashburner with NBA.com. For Greg and for Khris. Greg, your game the last couple of years has had to sort of adapt and work alongside Andre Drummond. Now it sounds like you're going to spend more time in the paint. Can you talk a little bit about what that means to you and how you see that working out? And then for Khris, after Greg, you got traded here. Can you talk about how Milwaukee's perceived around the league from the outside and now maybe as a little bit of a destination?
I mean, for me, it's kind of tough. That was my first year, so I was kind of just eyes wide open trying to get a feel for everything. But since I've been here, man, everything's been great. They treat us first class and try to make sure we're taken care of. And then just with the coaching staff, you know, they're all about getting better and winning here each day. So as a player, that's all you can ask for.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it. You know, I've always been a player that would do anything to help the team win. And so when they asked me to adapt to Andre, it wasn't a problem. So to come here and be asked to play somewhere where I've always been comfortable since I was a young kid is definitely a plus for me. You know, but he has still asked me to do some of the things. You know, in the meeting he said you're still going to have to do some of the things you were doing, playing a little bit further away from the basket, which I'm comfortable with also. So, you know, it's not a problem for me at all.
Tim Van Born, Fox 6 here in Milwaukee, and this question would be for Khris. Khris, at least from the outside, I'm not saying you felt this way, but from the outside, you may have been maybe an underdog when you came here, a second-round pick, and maybe the second guy in the trade with Brandon Knight. Now you get this big contract. Will your approach change at all if you're, I don't want to say you're the overdog, but the expectations go up a lot for you?
I'm just going to keep the same mentality. I mean, from day one, since I was in middle school, was just to get better every day and not settle for anything. Try to get better, try to improve, and try to stay hungry. So that's not going to change for me.
Hey guys, Greg Monroe from WTMJ Radio. More for John and for Coach Kidd. John, a lot of free agent centers were on the market. What separated Greg's skills from the others? Why was he the ideal fit for Milwaukee? And then, Coach, if you can follow up on that, I guess what are you most excited about integrating a guy like Greg into the offense and the defense?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that because, you know, one of the things I did want to mention about us and the goals that we have and the aspirations that we have becoming a championship caliber team, that, you know, the one thing that Jason and I continually talk about is that it's so much more enjoyable when you're doing it with the right kind of people. And I'll let Jason talk about the basketball side, but I'll say this. And I hope neither one of these guys would ever take this as an insult, because it's not. That I know in living with Khris now for the last year, and also with Greg, and knowing what he stands for and who he is as a person, that both of these guys, I think, are even better men than basketball players. And at the end of the day, you know, I think if we're going to do this and do this the right way, we need to start with the right kind of people, and that's what both these guys are, high character guys, and we'll find a way to win with people like that.
Yeah, I think when you, I want to echo what John said. We started with who they are as a person, basketball second, and when you look at Khris and Greg, they're great people. They come from a great family. And they understand what their jobs are, and that's to play basketball. And so when we looked at that, being able to get Khris back, as John said, was a priority. And then when you look at what Greg brings to the game, and someone brought up that he's going to spend a lot of time in the paint. Well, he's a basketball player, and he went to Georgetown, and he can also pass the ball. He can also set screens, and so it's just not a one-dimensional thing here in Milwaukee. It's about being a basketball player. My job is to get him to do those things. And so, again, we're excited to have him here in Milwaukee, both of them. And I think they both fit what we're trying to do, and that's be a championship caliber team in everything that we do.
For Jason, when you went out looking for a free agent, why was Greg at the top of your list, and how can he really jumpstart the offense? We all know he's got great offensive skills. How do you see him with this Young Bucks team and with Jabari and Giannis?
Well, I think, you know, you look at Greg, he can play multiple positions. I'm a big fan of that. I'm not a guy or a coach that believes that he's just a center. He's a basketball player, so he can be out there with a big group or a small group. And he can definitely put the ball in the basket. But at the end of the day, his basketball IQ is extremely high. He knows how to play the game the right way. So when you look at the things that we saw, that's why we flew down to D.C. at 1, 2, or whatever the time it was. 2 in the morning. We were there to see David and Greg, and I think Lil Greg was back there too. Were you there? Yeah, he was in the backpack just in case we were trying to kidnap him. But I think again, this is a wonderful day for Milwaukee, for Wisconsin, and for the Bucks family, because we got really good guys here.
What does it mean for you guys to be out of the
everybody can write about the competition of, LA or New York, but it's not about that. I think it comes down to us pitching what we have, and if it fits. It's not about the city, it's about, people. And, Greg had a decision to make, so did Khris. And if they didn't like what they saw in the sense of Greg playing against us and us coming down there, and for Khris being here, they could have went somewhere else.
This is for John. Sometimes in restricted free agency, teams will let players explore the market. You didn't do that with Khris. You were very proactive. I assume that was by design.
It was, and we've kind of said this, I think, somewhat consistently, that as we move forward, we're trying to have some continuity within our roster, and that continuity is, we don't hate to mention names, but we're going to mention some names and talk about the continuity beginning with Jabari, Giannis, MCW, Khris, John Henson, and now Greg being part of that group. So that's the young core that we're hoping with over the next 2 to 3 to 4 years, that group can eventually become that team that we want them to be, and that's a championship team. So, and Khris was a part of that. So we wanted to make sure that we brought him back. As Jason mentioned, that was a key component to us keeping this team together.
Jason, is this part of the process of going from good to great, and how much do you relish the fact that there are expectations and maybe even a little bit of pressure, inside, outside, whatever, to back up the words, we're going to make the playoffs, that we're going to do special things here?
Yeah, I think we would like to go good to good. Again, great, we got to spend some time together. We got to go through the ups and downs of an NBA season, and as we go through that and get to know one another, in a year or two, then we can make that decision to be one of those elite teams. So we're not in a hurry to call ourselves great. We would like to continue to get better each day. As Khris has mentioned, that's our job as coaches and as management, is to get better each day we take the floor. And again, we have the right personnel to do that, and hopefully we can stay healthy and have a little luck on our side and can achieve some of the goals that these guys will talk about during training camp and preseason.
For Jason or for John, as you look at your roster now, are there any particular elements that you still would like to add before you get to training camp?
I think right now we sit here with a 15-man roster, so the moves that we can make may be somewhat limited especially from a free agent standpoint. But we're always looking to improve our team whenever that could occur.
For Khris, think back to that year in Detroit, I guess. It's probably not that far away. But what did you see in this guy when you play with him, and what can he bring now to the Bucks? How do you think his fit is with the Bucks? And also, how many phone calls did you make?
I was bugging him quite a bit. I will say that almost every couple hours. But as far as Greg, when I was in Detroit, he was somebody that competed every night as hard as he could and wanted to win. He wasn't happy with losing. And that's the main thing I remember about him. But what he could bring to this team, I mean, he could bring a lot. I mean, he's very talented, skilled. He can score on the block. He can step away, make moves, make plays for everybody. And I think he's going to fit in great with us.
What was your reaction when you knew he was coming?
Oh, I was happy, man, yeah. I talked on the phone after he made the decision for about 5 minutes, just laughing and joking about how we're back together and playing again. Yeah.
Thank you, Chris. That was the first compliment you gave to me these past couple of days. Appreciate that.